Right, Nikki Bazant, who knows a thing or two about food and nutrition and well-being. Hello there, Nikki.
Hi, Nikki.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, nice to chat with you again. So Nikki's with us for the next 20 minutes, 0800 80 10 80. If you've got any questions at all about your health and well-being, what's right, what's wrong, now's your opportunity. We always love having you on, Nikki, so thank you very much for your time.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Nothing much else to do.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's true.
You could be cooking, like a lot of people are.
Yeah, I'm joking. I am working away, but it's just very quiet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is quiet. Yeah, but that's a good thing. Hey, so Nikki, let's talk tips on how, before the calls are coming in even as we speak, but let's just, before we get underway, how to stay healthy in lockdown. Is there sort of anything we should be eating, exercise routines? Everything's up the kibosh, I suppose.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Because when life is disrupted like this, you can really get out of your normal habits, and even if they're healthy habits, it's quite easy to just to throw up your hands and go, oh, I can't be bothered, and just open a bag of chips. But I think the thing to try and do, if you can, is to just stick to your routines, or stick to regular routines, whether they might be different from normal. Try and go to bed at the same time, try and get a decent amount of sleep, try and get out every day and do some exercise, move your body in some way. These things are really good for us, not just for our physical health, but actually for our mental health too,
Is there an optimum time that we should exercise? I mean, I've read lots about this over the years, whether it's, and it doesn't have to be sort of hardcore gym exercise like an F45 type deal, but is there an optimum amount of time one should exercise in a day or a week?
Well, we should have 150 minutes of exercise a week, according to
150 a week, 7. I'm doing the maths.
So that's about 30 minutes a day. Yeah.
About 30 minutes a day, Nikki.
Yeah. But the thing with that is it doesn't have to be all in one chunk. So you can do your 10-minute walk up the road to get a coffee, or you can do, 5 minutes at lunchtime just outside. You can chunk it up and get your 30 minutes in blocks. So, as long as you're just moving your body to a moderate level, that's going to be of a health benefit for sure. And then the things to add in are some bit more high intensity stuff, if you can, and some flexibility type stuff as well, and balance, that kind of thing.
Yeah, see, that's probably a good distinction, because I've always sort of been under the maybe misapprehension that you have to kind of get your heart rate into that 150 plus zone. But clearly that's not what the advice is. As long as you're moving, that's good enough. So even housework, some suggest, is actually good exercise.
Yeah, definitely. It's really good to get your heart rate up, and it's good to do some high intensity stuff for sure. And it's really good to do some weight training as well, like some kind of weight where you're working hard and pushing or pulling. But it's also just that the general recommendation for good health is just a moderate level of intensity. So, that might be walking, it might be swimming, it might be, doing some kind of, obviously it could be running or biking, any of that kind of thing. But it doesn't have to be full on hard out for 30 minutes.
Okay. The running thing, you mentioned running. That's a bit tough on the body, though, for a lot of people, though, isn't it?
It can be if you've got joint issues, knees and hips and stuff like that. But if you like running and it doesn't cause you injury or pain, then go for it.
Right. Nikki, a couple of text questions and then we'll get to the phones. 0800 80 10 80 is our phone number. 0800 80 10 80 if you've got a question for Nikki on food, nutrition, health, well-being. Here's your opportunity. Justine says on text, "Hi Nikki, love your stuff. What's the best nut to eat, please?"
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, all the nuts are pretty good, what the thing with that would be just to get a variety.
Right.
Because nuts in general have got a lot of good qualities. They're full of healthy fats, and they can have some protein, and different nuts have different levels of things in them. So so just get a good variety of nuts, I would say. Try and mix it up.
Okay. Another question here, it's from a guy actually, Mark. Thank you, Mark, for your text. He says, "I've read somewhere that cooking vegetables dilutes their goodness. Is that true?" Cooking in water, I presume he's talking about here.
There's a little bit of truth to that. If you're boiling your vegetables really vigorously, then you can lose a bit of the vitamins that are in there into the water that you're cooking them in.
Right.
So that's partially true. You're better off with veggies, maybe steaming them gently or cooking them in other ways without water, just in terms of vitamins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a major thing. It's just, I mean, really, not many of us are boiling our veggies within an inch of their life like we used to in the olden days. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
Like
I
my
was,
mother.
No, I was just going to say though,
Yeah.
because my grandmother used to say, Nikki, that when she'd boil the broccoli and the carrots, she used to make us, or this is my grandma, used to make us drink a cup of the water.
okay, yeah. So she was like, within you're getting the vitamins, right? You're getting
Yeah,
them
that
in
was her
in
theory.
a stock out of the vegetables that she's
It
made.
was-
Yeah.
What about when they'd boil cabbage to death? And then when they brought in coleslaw, I said, I'm not eating that. It's not even cooked.
I reckon if the veggies are losing their colour in the water, then you've gone too far. So just keep that in mind. Like, keep them nice and coloured, and then you'll
Right.
be all right. Yeah.
Okay.
Craig has asked, can you eat too much meat?
Yes, you can eat too much meat, definitely. I mean, most of us don't, but really, now what's the recommendation around meat? I think it's 500 grams a week is recommended for health, or
Right.
you know, no more than that. And
Yeah.
that's raw weight. I think I might be wrong there. But that's just off the top of my head. It's not that much really if you think about it. We're talking about red meat.
Yeah.
So just be careful with your meat servings and make a good guide. This is a good guide. Have a look at your hand, and if you look at the palm of your hand, the
Yes.
size of the palm of your hand and the thickness of the palm of your hand is about the right size for a serving of meat.
Which bit is it? Where does the palm finish?
Before you at your fingers, the palm.
Yeah, the palm, mate. James is trying to get his whole hand in there.
No. So you don't. So that might, for a lot of men, that might be a little bit shocking.
Right.
But you really don't want your meat serving to be super
Bigger than
big.
that.
You don't want it to be covering half your plate. You want it to
No.
be covering a quarter of your plate, and that's about right. Yeah.
Nikki, says this texter, should you wash your vegetables before cooking them? My daughter doesn't wash or peel her veggies, believes boiling them cleans them.
Well, I mean, I don't look. I'm a bit relaxed about this. I think. I mean, it's probably a good practice to wash them if you can eat them raw, but leaving the peel on veggies is good in terms of keeping, because a lot of the nutrients in veggies are concentrated in the skin. You know, like in potatoes, for example, there's fibre and vitamin C and stuff in the skin. So you want to kind of leave the skin on if you can. So give them with spuds and things. You know, what's the word? Root vegetables.
Yes.
You would definitely want to give those a bit of a clean, but I would leave the skin on in that case. Yeah.
Now that's really interesting because see, I when I do the dinners in the evening, Nikki, I read it again somewhere. I fill the sink a quarter full with water, and then I
Yeah.
tip sort of a bunch of white vinegar in there because I heard that was quite good for getting rid of pesticides and stuff. It was on the fruit and veggies, so that's what I do before I cook them.
Really?
Yeah, I mean
Every night.
that's probably not a bad practice. I don't do that myself, and I'm still alive. But I think, you know,
You don't know for how much longer though, Nikki.
No, I mean,
So,
you know,
Did you,
go for your
did you
life.
say vinegar?
Right, yeah, white vinegar, yeah.
So doesn't it taste like vinegar when
No,
your
'cause you
vegetables?
give them a quick rinse before I put
Oh,
them in
okay.
there.
Right, yeah.
Joined by Nikki Bazant. Every fortnight have Nikki on to talk health, nutrition and wellbeing, which is great. Hello, Quentin.
Hello there. Hello, Nikki.
Hi, Quentin.
I'll just text into you that I make my own baked salted peanuts. And I've been making them for quite some time. And I always get the raw nuts. And I just wondered, with health issues, are they better raw, or is it okay to bake them?
Are you putting oil on them when you bake them, or are you just baking them as they are?
No, I do bake them in oil, and I have done with butter. But the last time I baked them, I had them in the oven for too long, and unfortunately, they went very hard, so they weren't very nice. So it's critical that you don't bake them too much.
You got to keep an eye on them.
Yeah. And what do you reckon about that, Nikki?
Well, I think the thing with cooking them in oil or fat, you know, anything really, butter, and adding salt to them, that's the only issue really health-wise. I mean, if you have a nut in its natural state, then it's full of all those healthy things that nuts have in them. It's got the fibre and it's got the vitamins and everything, and that's cool. If you add fat and salt to them, then it's just taking the health down a little bit, because you're adding fat and salt, which are not good for you in general. So
But they taste good.
They do taste good, of course. We love fat and salt. That's one of the things that we're kind of hardwired to love. So, it's just a balance between getting the goodness of the nuts and not kind of negating that by smothering them in butter and salt, I guess. So
Yeah,
just take it
yeah.
easy on what you cook them in. If you can cook them as they are, because they've got quite a lot of oil in them anyway, obviously, just try cooking them without the extra fat. You might surprise yourself. That might taste pretty good.
Good luck with that, Quentin. Thank you. Hello, Brian.
Yeah, hi Tyler. Hi
It's-
Nikki.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, my question is, would microwaving, and I don't mean overcooking, like a portion of veggies, I cook for about 2 minutes on high, so they're just getting tender, and eat your veggies that way? Is that better? Or like cabbage, I do it for a minute, most. So it's still
Yeah.
a little bit crunchy, but hot. Is that
Yeah, I
the best
think
way
that-
to eat it?
Well, I think you're basically steaming when you're cooking in the microwave, and that's pretty good. So if it's not cooking it too much, and you still got you still got all the goodness in there. I think it's a really good way to cook, and it's very convenient and quick, isn't it?
Yeah, good work, Brian. Good question. Actually, on that, Nikki, I've always been anxious, I suppose, about the microwave. And look, I mean, I've never seen any research in 30 years that says it is bad for you at all. And I figure it's been around long enough now that there would be something out there. But what's your view on microwaving, vegetables and things? Do you damage the constitution of the fruit or the vegetable?
No, there's nothing, as you say, microwaves have been around, 50, 60 years actually, and all that stuff. There was a bit of sort of scary stuff about microwaves out there floating around on the internet a few years back, but none of it has ever been proven to be true.
Yeah, good.
And so you're right. There's no reason for concern. The only thing that you could do to your food in a microwave would be to overcook it.
Right.
And the other thing that you need to be a bit careful about too is plastics in the microwave, just the containers that you use.
Yep.
So don't use any of those kind of not, like takeaway containers.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
No,
Yeah.
Things that aren't microwave safe, because then you can get things migrating from the plastic into your food, and you don't really want that.
Great. Nikki, you are so good to talk to as always. Thank you very much for your time.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, really nice. Nikki Bazant, food nutrition writer and expert, health expert.